Yes, everybody, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur, and this is going to be your Twitter reacts after our 4-1 win against Ipswich Town, and we're feeling good. It feels good to win big. It feels good to win 3 Premier League games in a row, and we're going to be dissecting it through Twitter and taking a look at how the other Spurs fans are celebrating. Hopefully, you guys are celebrating and enjoying your weekend. We win on a Saturday, which doesn't happen very often. We don't get to play on Saturdays, but now that we do, since we're part of that one game, kind of a week type of crew, and Dave, we're going to happy clap our way through this Twitter reacts. And me personally, that was a win that I could take a lot of happy clapping positives from.
No, look, I think the world is back to normal, right? Tottenham are winning 4-1, Arsenal are losing, and we can happy clap for the weekend. Football back on a Saturday. I mean, it feels like the whole world is coming right again for me, Jack.
100%. Well, everybody smash that like button for us, and we're going to get straight into this one. Dave, I mean, we're starting things off with, someone pointing out that Dane assist after Kulu called him the most underrated in the squad. Actually a recent quote from Kulusevski, showing some praise for the Dane Bappe of the crew, Dave. And Kulusevski, I mean, plenty of people spoke about this, but to finish that, we've been, asking, of him maybe for a while now, because we know it's in his locker. We know he has it. I've even said to you, I wonder if it's like, it's a bit of a baseball term, but I wonder if he has a case of like the yips or something where he just kind of maybe overthinks it, because I really rate him on a technical level, Kulusevski. I do know that he has that in his locker. It's just that maybe haven't seen that maybe for the past season and a half, because when he first came in here, he was hitting those in for fun. So we know he can do it. I've just said, maybe a case of the yips, and then also someone who's just overthinking it maybe sometimes with the finish.
No, look, I agree with you. First of all, it's an absolute beautiful
Gorgeous.
finish. I mean, last player I seen do that at Tottenham was someone like Gareth Bale cutting in off the wing and delivering finishes of
In
that
the
sort of
right. Yeah.
standard. And I do agree with you. I think it's something we should see a lot more from Kulusevski. He definitely has the ability to be able to do it.
Yeah. And then Nathan says, 1 game a week, Sonny, and I'm paying attention. Dave, I mean, isn't this is something you kind of vouch for? Is that Sonny wasn't really, ideally, you just shouldn't be playing him week in, week out, game in, game out. You're probably going to get the best version of himself if, you do rotate and you do allow him, time off, and you do allow him to recover. We just haven't been able to do that this season. And, we were able to really see, the much more vintage version of him. I thought he was really positive on the day, really positive.
But he looked really fresh, Jack. I think that's the biggest thing I take from his performance today. Every time he got the ball, he was sharp. In weeks gone by before that, he's looked very lethargic on the ball. Maybe sometimes took the easy option out on the ball by passing it off to others. Whereas today, he looked fresh. He was direct, took the ball to his opponent. And not only that, he was sharp on the ball in terms of executing his passes and that. A very big performance from someone. But I've been saying this since the start of the season. He's 33 years of age. You can't rely on him every 3 days. Now, of course, with injuries, we've had to get to that point. But, if we manage Son's minutes right, there's still a player in there that we can use and still have a massive impact on Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah. Ayudi's saying this is so funny because Rupert Grint and Ed Sheeran are basically twins and they attend the same game yet support different teams. Well, one of them chose the right path, Dave, and at Tottenham Hotspur, Rupert Grint. And he's also as well, fascinating guy in that, he's sort of got his fame, from, the likes of Harry Potter. But since then, has
Yeah.
kind of kept a pretty low profile. From what I've heard, kind of in life and in general. Kieran
Well,
saying Spence Trophy picks in Bilbao. I need that more than oxygen.
every single one of us would love to see it. Imagine if he does end up winning a trophy. What an end to a bit of a tumultuous time at Tottenham that would be.
He has to do the Conceição celebration if he does win
Yeah.
a trophy with Spurs, with the cigar out and the champagne flowing. Barnaby saying, never thought I'd see the day Kulusevski scores from the situation. I found this to be a bit harsh. That's why I didn't like it. But I can see some of maybe the frustrations maybe Kulusevski, again, has maybe people have had with him when it comes to putting away chances that, are presented to him. Normally, he is the creator. Normally, he's the guy creating chances for others. Definitely is probably our most consistent player in the team in that regard. But with maybe the chances that sometimes he's presented, or even sometimes chances he creates for himself, just hasn't been the most clinical player this season. A lot of people are guilty of that, though. I could say that about almost half of the squad, really, for the most part. But Kulusevski, we know we hold to, like all great players, like your best players. He is one of our best players in the team. You hold them maybe to a higher standard sometimes because you just know that, they are capable of maybe being that bit better. But I find this a tad harsh because he has finished definitely a few of these this season in positions like this. It's just he also does tend to waste them as well.
Look, Kulusevski is a player that's going to evolve over time, Jack. You know, people said he wasn't good enough to be at Tottenham. They wanted to sell him. Now he's our best player. Now, I think criticism of should he be producing more goals, I think is absolutely correct. But you know what's coming next, don't you? He's going to start producing more goals with age, Jack. And look, you know, his goal today, I can't help. And even situations like this, it just strikes Gareth Bale in my mind. You know, a player that used to come in, cut in, and bury goals like that. I think that's the next level for me. Kulu needs to take. I think that's what you're expecting, Jack, when you call out he's finishing all the time. But like I said, I think rightly so. But that's the next level he needs to take to become a player of a world class ability, so to speak.
That's because I really rate him, so I just know
Yeah.
that he can be better. And like I brought up earlier, I saw him do it on a regular basis when he first came into the
Yeah.
team. He was scoring bangers for fun in positions like this, and so
Mm,
he has it in him. I just wonder if
yeah.
it's just something maybe mental just sort of happened to him when it come to the final third. But he has no problem creating chances in the final third. That's for
Mm.
sure. I was going to mention something else there, but might as well remember it for another time. Jake's saying there are many things that makes James Madison a very Tottenham player, but I think the fact that every club in the country hates him is very high up on that list. I definitely agree with that one.
Great
We also
comment.
have TH Trunk saying, pay Ipswich whatever they want for Liam Delap. I've seen enough. Absolute baller. I mean, Dave, you've been very early on the Delap train, and I think you were saying to me, perhaps the Richarlison replacement.
Look, I was badgering you about fantasy football, saying, look, keep an eye on the lap. He's going to surprise a lot of people. And you know what? 10 goals for Ipswich Town so far this season, the team that's relegation fodder at his age. But then you also look at it, the trouble that he causes the big teams just up there on his own. I mean, for me, if you're not in the market for him this summer, I think then there's something wrong.
And then StatMuse saying Tottenham have scored 53 goals in the Premier League this season. Only Liverpool's 62 have scored more. See, I've say this, so many times. Despite stats like this, I will still say we are not exactly a clinical team, though, and it's a credit to Ange's system. It's a credit to his desire to play attacking football that we can generate still so many goals. Despite my belief, it's only my opinion at the end of the day, but it's my opinion that we aren't actually that clinical of a team. In this game, we certainly were. In this last game, we were, but over the course of this season, I think we've hurt ourselves by not being one. Yet the
Well,
stats would show that we score a lot of goals, and that's more credit than to Ange, I think, than it is to these players. Actually, I think that would be one that I would tip my cap to Ange for, because me personally, I think we waste chances on a regular basis sometimes. So
look,
fair play to Ange.
this is one where, you've got to delve deeper into what the stat is suggesting. And I've actually done this over recent weeks. When you look at Tottenham and when we win, like today, we win big, right? Put four up. We've done it against Man City. We've done it against West Ham. We've done it against Aston Villa. We win big when we win. The problem is the periods in between them big wins. We just don't score enough goals. It's not done on a consistent basis. If we could, we'd be up there where Liverpool are. And that's what I've been trying to say all along, Jack. You've got to keep your best goal scorers in the team because they win you games of football. But it is slightly manipulated because, like I pointed out, when we win, we do gloss up the scoreline.
We're maybe a bit guilty of scoring all of our goals in a month, maybe in one game sometimes. That classic
Yeah.
joke. This Jet Spence round, Dave. King material, LeBron material. James saying, born too early to see flying cars, born too late to see the dinosaurs, born just in time to watch Jet Spence play for Tottenham Hotspur. Lots of dead love.
Jesus
Got
Christ,
love.
James. Relax. You're not meeting a celebrity here. Calm down.
Maybe
Big
you
old
are.
James.
He's
Brilliant.
become the greatest Tottenham Jedi of all time, Dave. Sneha saying, Danzo, I have tears in my eyes. I had to put him straight out of the womb. Had to put him on. I think that if
Absolutely
people can
brilliant.
make that out in the thumbnail, it almost looks a little too small, the Danzo picture. But
Yeah.
if I could blow that up to the best of my ability, I might put that in the thumbnail. I found that hilarious. That was one of the funniest
Yeah.
things I saw.
I would
Put him
say
straight on.
the editing in that picture could be a little bit better.
Yeah, get him started out on the phone. Get him an iPad. Get him a TV screen of Kevin Danzo. No need to put the phone in there. Give him a big TV. Talking THFC, not to alarm anyone, but we may be back.
This is the stuff I love. It's brilliant.
This is what you call washed. I think it's what you call cooking, my friend. Some people think he's washed. Some people think he's cooking. Jark G pointed out that in the Man United game, he said that he deserved, a couple of assists in that one as well. Matisse Tell, had a few opportunities, and even
Yeah.
Kulu did as well. I think from some of Sonny's, play like that, I think he's been really positive in the last couple of games here.
Mm,
So hope for more from him. Dejan Kulusevski, Dave, in the Premier League in his career so far, 22 goals, 22 assists.
it's not bad for a player that people wanted to sell, I suppose.
No, it's also just a beautiful symmetry there of what it is in his game. Gus saying this is getting absurd. Spurs in
I
12th
know.
position, but
I
plus
know.
15 goal difference. Yeah, and
I
also
know.
again maybe though is that kind of a connection though to the stat that you were bringing up earlier, or not stat, but your kind of take on these games, right? Where Spurs have the tendency to win big, which certainly helps. Goal difference. If you were towards the top of the table, but then there are plenty of games when sadly, not been the case.
Yeah,
So
and look, it comes back to bite you. This is why I say, we can't get carried away when we win one game like this. We gotta try and start producing it on a consistent basis.
yeah, 53 goals to 38 conceded. We have conceded, similar amount to, the rest of the teams around us, but on the better end of it. So again, it's just some of these games where we just haven't gotten over the line, and especially in my case, just not being a clinical team. Really, that's just my
Yeah.
opinion in my case. Tottenham Hotspur, just saying, Jedi Spence interview, which you're happy to watch yourselves. I'm just not sure if I can play the audio. But he was saying, I'm buzzed and I've worked so hard to get to this moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave, that's exactly it with Jedi. He has just sort of I've said he's taken the high road, really. Fair play to his sort of mentality to sort of rise above maybe all the obstacles that have been put in his way. Also, as well, he had the Levy Pond situation with Antonio Conte. Ange didn't maybe take a liking to him when he first got in here for whatever reason that might have been. And he's just put his head down and kind of just risen all above it.
No, he's been absolutely brilliant, Jack. I think he's a role model or an example to anybody that's going through tough times. If you're willing, because look, what Jed Spence could have done is bitched and moaned and forced away out of the football club. He didn't do it. He put his head down despite everything rallying against him. And Postecoglou made it hard for him. I think Postecoglou alluded to that in his pre-match press conference. He made it a difficult for him by design to see how much he's wanted it. Well, I mean, look, we've got our answer, and do you know what? This is where I think Postecoglou deserves a lot of praise. Everyone moans, "Oh, he should have started at the start of the season, etc., etc." Reality is, Postecoglou has got more out of him in his professional career than any other manager.
Sergeant Sonny really happy with the Ange win. He's saying 4-goal thrashing to make it 3 on the bounce with our starting center backs and striker out. Yeah, Ange is the way. And if Dave, if you could see the caption underneath there with the part that says news,
Yeah.
it's
Oh, brilliant.
good editing from them. We have Losty saying the fact we paid only £8 million for Bergvall. By the way,
Mm.
LOL. I mean, yeah, that's just. But I was having a discussion with a friend about this, and he was saying. I was saying, Spurs, they just never push the boat out for, 50, 60, 70 million pound player. When they do, they usually just get it wrong. And we just sort of leave ourselves always relying on, these 10 million, 11 million, sort of diamond in the rough sort of signings all the time. It'd just be nice if we got one of the bigger signings,
Yeah.
done and done right, at the end of the day, knowing that they will carry us. And they just didn't seem to understand where I was coming from. And I just think Lucas Bergvall is just like a classic situation of that. Like, Spurs have always been that club for me that are just so good at the kind
Yeah.
of uncovered gems, or like the people that maybe aren't ready to take the risk on them yet, but Spurs do, and they convince them to come. We've always been good at the cheap signings that end up being absolute superstars, which is that club that I just wish we're able to be better at pushing the boat out on a 60, 70 million type
Yeah.
player that can really carry the team forward at the end of the day. Because when we gotten it wrong,
Mm.
but we still don't do it often enough, in my opinion.
No, look, I agree with you. Look, I grew up in the Martin Yule, the Harry Redknapp era, the Pochettino. We've always got our sort of, what would you call it, cheaper recruitment absolutely spot on, where we find gems and develop them. But what we never do is bring in, like you said, a proven star or two to really drag them guys on and
Yeah,
really
that's the
bring them
word.
forward. And what ends up happening is we don't win anything. These guys get pissed off and they end up walking away and we have to restart again. So to your point, even right now, yes, a lot of our young recruitment has been good, but they're not going to kick on unless you bring in two players of that caliber to really help drag them forward.
100%. Yeah, I think proven star is actually the word I was probably looking for. Well said. Tottenham Maskey 4-1 up in a must-win game, and away fans singing "Levy out." Glorious. We're so back. It's not even funny. Funny
Yeah.
from Maskey there. Ayudi, T as in Troy? No, Gabriella. T as in Tottenham winning the Europa League. Great. Great
I
happy
love how
clapping
carried
energy.
away we get. One win and everyone's
Oh,
buzzing.
it's Twitter is happy clapping. I'll tell you that. Seb Martin saying, "I'm telling you, this boy is on his way to be go to the very, very top. Sensational footballer." A lot of people had high praise
He's
for
brilliant
Berg.
today.
Also, maybe your inclusion of him in the man of the match poll wasn't that far off, Dave, because Twitter had a lot of love for Berg. So,
No, I
um,
thought it was brilliant today. I thought it was one of them underrated performances, Jack. He got stuck in there, he turned ball over, but also in possession, he didn't really give anything away. And then there was a couple of times where he's breaking. He just done a quick bit of footwork to evade a couple of players. I thought it was an all-out brilliant performance from Bergvall today. Fair play to him.
he has a bit of a kind of the Jedi too, where he kind of always looks good no matter what he's doing. Even when he's being pressured by Delap, he just sort of looks, so comfortable, so
Yeah.
composed with the face there. Dave, I know you're smiling and laughing. I just thought, I'd sort of give you a headache, right before, at least give you one sort of brain cell, maybe killing, a tweet here. He's back, baby. Retired in 2023. Welcome back, Gareth Bale. Signed in 2023.
I mean, if they put a picture of Kulu, off his goal today, I would say yes. But what we need to recognise is Gareth Bale had everything that we're asking out of Brendan Johnson to try and develop. Crossing, beating a player, devastating quality.
I mean, I've had, it's a controversial take. I genuinely think Gareth Bale might have had the most ability of almost any Tottenham player I've ever seen in my lifetime, really. And, sadly, I just don't know if many players will ever live up to that sort of ability. Not really Brendan Johnson, but it's just one of those that does give me a chuckle. And I also know it's like good brain rot, really, for Dave Harris as well. Zeus saying, Poro is every Tottenham fan, complete in awe of Spence, completely in awe.
I love that. Look how much, Poro's absolutely buzzing for the guy. I love that.
Yeah, he does. You can tell he does like the club, Pedro Porro. You can't fault him for that. He's still, as much as he makes mistakes and, has had maybe bad moments this season, he's also played nearly almost more minutes than Kulusevski or something like that this season, right? And the guy is, always seems to still care very much about the club. Daily Hotspur, does it come with the championship badge? And they were referring to Ipswich, when they tweeted, it's much easier to get a Hutchinson shirt by just going to our online store. And they're saying, does it come with the championship badge?
That's brilliant.
Kevin Donzo, Dave, this was 10 hours before the match, or 11 hours before the match, just tweeting, let's go. I mean, just shows that the guy, just like I said, he's caring, he shows he wants to play for the club. He's dying to play for the club. He cares.
Nah, absolutely. Look, the more I see this guy, the more I like it. Like I said during the watch along, I've copped it, and I've been trying to think, who does he look like? 50 Cent. He's just 50 Cent, but in terms of an athlete version, I love it.
And I just love it. He's just so excited to get, ready for the game even beforehand, not after. Psycomps, we'll enjoy our England call-up.
Look, if Jed Spence doesn't get an England call-up, then they're not picking the best players available. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they're just
not. Thomas Tuchel, that's what Dave says. Do you know how incredible this feels? Seeing the substitutions.
Yeah.
It is brilliant. And even just, seeing just Odebear, Johnson, Odebear, Madison, coming on at the same time. It's just kind of very different options for what we had, to begin with. And that's why I also just love. They just bring such a different dynamic, these different players we're bringing on.
What was nice about it, Jack, the game was getting a little bit loose, and you mentioned this in the watch along. All of a sudden, you bring on Pedro Porro, James Madison, couple of ballers, keep ball, and then you go on and good technicians. You keep ball, you go on, and you score a couple more goals. James Madison's little bit of play for Jed Spence to score his goal, absolutely brilliant. And this is the benefit, like we've always said, of having a substitute bench with players that you can actually change the game with.
Yeah, well pointed out. Spurs watch. Porro believes in Jed. That he does. And also Jed nearly giving as big of a yell back at Porro.
I think he wants to sleep with Jed, to be honest, with that sort of face. I do.
Talking to HFC, this is why Ange is so selective about who he brings into the dressing room. Vic gets it. I mean, Dave, the guy is just cracked. The guy is just even him and Barrett all year. It's just so funny. It's just like, I'm telling you, he's a psychopath. I think, Vicario. He's a guy who he lives and breathes it. Yeah, he just lives and breathes it. He just lives and breathes it.
Do you know what?
Look at even these, like, something. You never see Lloris. It's like he's painting an art piece there, Vicario.
He strikes me as a guy that people are afraid of in the dressing room, and that's why they allow him to do this to them on the football pitch.
Yeah.
No other player at Tottenham Hotspur would get away with this, which makes me think they're terrified of him. So they just go, okay, Vicario, calm down, relax, okay.
He's so intense.
Yeah, I love
so
it.
intense and so driven, clearly such a driven character.
Even when he was injured, we seen him on the sideline doing all of this and everything else. He's class.
Yeah, I almost brought that up actually in the Twitter reacts here. There was a tweet for that, but Dave already brought it up, so there you go. Gus Yitto saying, "Dane, you beautiful boy, that flick on was exquisite." Get
hanging in the Louvre.
Dave, get the big Dane Mbappe on.
Hanging in the Louvre, Jack.
I love a good flick on. Tottenham independent transfer stories. Team spirit looks all right, but are we back? It was some lovely goal, lovely feat from Madison, and let's look at the celebrations here. From the boys.
Bergvall loves it. He's sprinting over. You see Bergvall. He had more intensity in that game, in that sprint, than he did the whole game. Okay, James, calm down. Roy Keane's disgusted with that.
Good to see the
good
boys.
Play by Madison, though.
Oh, unbelievable play! But yeah, the team spirit is there. Look at that from
Pedro
Moro.
Get a room.
Pedro just loves it. He's cracked.
And Bentancur wants a bit. And Kulu too. That's it. Give him a kiss on the cheek. Brilliant. And Udi wants a bit too.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And it also came from Johnny H, by the way. One of the reasons to follow Johnny H, get that good match day coverage like that.
Big up,
love
Johnny.
to see that. Legend. Spurs pictures that go hard. Dave?
Yeah.
Not my favorite from Spurs pictures
No.
that go hard.
I've seen better.
I love that account, so I just figured I had to include it. The Fighting Cock, seriously, how good is Kevin Donzo?
Yeah.
And what I love, Dave, is just two back-to-back pointing pictures, that I thought I'd give to you. It's just very funny that they're just two separate moments of him doing the point. Super Kev from Tottenham Hotspur. Look at Beast. Look, that's a great photo of him. That's a great photo. I'd make
Aggression, everything.
As well, just again, just it's got a good sort of head on his shoulders. Simon Humain, brilliant by Sonny here. Just good one-on-one play, isn't it, Dave? And what I would point out is just the way that he actually sort of sells cutting inside there. He does it so well to then create that space, down the byline, down the left, to the outside of the player. Because I think once, the defender realized that he had some support, he probably was ready to maybe cheat, towards, the outside, to try to stop the cross. But I think Sonny actually really sells him on it, in a good way. It's just this sort of extra hesitation that he kind of makes, I think sort of sells it a bit here.
Look, I also think Archie Gray deserves a lot of credit, though, Jack. With that ball over the top from your centre-back was absolutely inch perfect. But you know what I like about this, Jack? In recent weeks, we've seen someone trying to do that, and he's falling over the ball or doesn't do it with pace. This time he gets the ball in behind. It's done with absolutely devastating quality. It's the son that we're used to seeing, and hopefully we see more of it now.
Yeah, 100%. Jet Spence, Dave here, from Dan THFC. Or Don THFC. I think it was just, it's actually just the same clip from earlier.
Yeah, it's the same clip, yeah.
My bad. Alex, yikes, Tim Sherwood, pretty scathing of Matisse Tell. Is that fair? Listen, I think we got to go by, I think you're welcome to judge the performance, each individual performance at a time. You're certainly welcome to judge. I don't think this one was as good as how he played against Man United. I think his hold-up play actually was worse in this game than it was against Man United. But I think we got to kind of sort of go by your rule, Dave, right? You kind of got to wait maybe a season, and then the second season is kind of when you start to maybe give your judgments, a bit more kind of conclusively. I think you went by the 2-year rule, isn't that right?
Yeah, well, look, for me, obviously you want to see them sort of make an impact, but I'd always give them a year. But then in the second season, there's no excuse. You've had time to fit in, understand the formation, get understanding with your teammates, you train with them every day. If you're not performing by then, get out of my football club. But look, when it comes to Matisse Tell, I think I haven't seen exactly what Team Sherwood has said. But, if he's gone after him, look, I think it's okay to sit there and criticise the performance. He wasn't good today whatsoever. He was MIA most of the game. But also, you got to understand, I've always said this, any striker you bring in, they're always going to be compared to what Harry Kane used to give us. And that's the level we need to get to. We need these guys to get to. Is it unfair? Technically, yes. But at the end of the day, they sign on the dotted line. No, that's who they're going to be compared to. And, like I've tried to point out, and Harry Kane has Tim Sherwood to thank for his career. So let's not pretend Tim Sherwood doesn't know what a good striker is. He clearly does. If he backed Harry Kane and said, "Get Ronaldo out, we're going to stick with Harry," no one else would have done that at the time. So I think when you look at what Tottenham need, and I've always said this, which is genuinely proven quality up front, I can understand why Tim Sherwood is pulling out someone like Matisse Tal. Don't get me wrong, like I said in my predicted lineup, is it his fault he finds himself in this situation? No. But at the end of the day, I don't want to see people bitch and moan. At the end of the day, everything that people point out in terms of criticism is an area where these players need to improve if they want to take the next level.
Tim Sherwood can have some howlers, but let's hope that this is one of them. James saying, anyone able to tell me how that's not a penalty? What are the rules of this game now? Dave and I thought it was a penalty. I mean, it's not the biggest penalty shot we've ever made, but it was just unnecessary, and it was completely just, I don't know, just against kind of normally just how the 50-50 duels work, or just how, just sort of seeing the ball out of play really works. The ball was already pretty much out of play by this stage. He didn't need to sort of body check him like that. They're not even close to the ball. And if you even look at sort of his eyes here, O'Shea, I'm not sure if that part is shown there, but he very much, isn't looking at the ball. He's very much looking at Danzo as well. So there's I don't know, for Dave and I, it was a penalty, but I don't know. It's not the biggest one that we've probably cried about, to be fair. James Madison, Johnson, again, ole, ole.
These two really do love each other, though, don't they? Darts, now pictures together. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's it, Dave. There's your Twitter reacts. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, look, I've really enjoyed it. It's been good fun. Brennan Johnson with 2 goals on his return. All the Brennan Johnson fans will be happy. Kulusevski fans and Jedi Spectacular fans like ourselves, Jack, would be absolutely delighted. And I've no doubt all the Sun fans are sitting there doing this tonight. It's been a good day for Tottenham Hotspur. Guys, please run them likes up. Get your comments in below. Hopefully you're enjoying your weekend. Make sure you tune back in. I don't know whether it's going out tonight or tomorrow morning, but we will be doing a breakdown of the game. Make sure you tune in for that.
Yep, and we'll see you all tomorrow for the big upstreams. 2 very good ones, 2 very fun ones to be doing. So please join us for it. See you all tomorrow, everybody. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.